All right, Mikey. So I got your homework assignment. You called and counted the 16th notes for me. The one other part of that, so make sure that you got this. So now, from now on, if you forget it, what it is, you just refer back to this video. Where we're having a rub is with the counting of dotted notes. So you've got to be able to remember how the dotted notes work and how you play them. So the first thing is when you remember that when you have any kind of dotted note, what you're doing is you're adding half the note's value to it. So what that means is if we have a half note, which is worth 2 beats usually, if we're a 4/4, then it's like adding the value of a quarter note to it. So a half note would last a certain amount of time. So I'm going to turn on my metronome. That's too fast. Okay. All right. So on each one of these, this is our tempo. Pretend that each one of these is a quarter note. 2. So half notes would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So you see the half note lasts for 2 quarter note lengths. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. When I pull my hands apart, that's like we have rest right there. So if I did 2 half notes in the middle, it would be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the half note lasts for the 2 quarter note lengths. Okay, so if we add a dot to the half note, and I wish I had some visual, but I'm not that technologically advanced yet. Then you would be adding the amount of time that a quarter note lasts to that half note. So then you would have, it would be like having 3 quarter notes tied together. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, when you work with a quarter note, you're gonna dot the quarter note. Regular quarter notes, we have 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and each one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens is when you put a dot on the quarter note, you add. It's like adding an eighth note value onto it. So a dotted quarter note is kind of like 3 eighth notes combined together, right? So just like a dotted half note is like 3 quarter notes tied together, a dotted quarter note is like 3 eighth notes tied together. So it would sound like this. So you can hear the eighth notes here now. I'm counting eighth notes. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So when you have a dotted quarter note, you just count 3 eighth notes, and that gives you the full value of that note. And that's how long that note would last before you have to do something else. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2. See? So it lasts that long. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Or wherever the note starts, you would count 3 eighth notes. Dot, dot, dot. That many, you get that many clicks. And that's how long that note will last. So what happens, and this is where we're having the challenge is that when that note ends, then you're going to have your next thing. So there'll be either a rest or a note. Usually in the book that we're working on right now, if you have a dotted note, it's usually followed by another note. And it's usually followed by a smaller note. So if we have a dotted quarter note, the next thing that comes is a dotted, the next thing that comes is an eighth note. So a dotted quarter note followed by an eighth note sounds like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and like that. So the eighth note comes immediately after the dotted quarter note ends. So 1 and 2 and is where you would play the next eighth note. In the book, where we're working on that snare drum piece the other day, we were working with dotted 16ths or dotted eighth notes. So we're dotted. The figure was dotted eighth note with a 16th note right after it. So you get the 16th note count. So 1 E and a. So we got the metronome set to E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now the dotted eighth note lasts for 1 E and, right? 1 E and, like that. Where you're having trouble is that you forgot how long the dotted note is supposed to last, and also remembering that you play the following note immediately after, and then go right into the next beat. A lot of times, what you're doing is you're hesitating before you go to the next note. I'm not really sure why you do that. I don't know if it's because the notes are passing too fast and you have to stop and think about it, or what it is, but that's why you have to use your metronome and count out loud until you get used to it. If you just do it really slowly for a little bit, you'll start to get the hang of it and you won't have that hesitation every time. So just in the interest of demonstrating, practicing it at a slower tempo, I'm going to do this at a little slower. I've got the metronome on 60. Now your metronome may not do all of these subdivisions where you can hear the 16th notes. So I'm just going to do it normally. So your metronome may be like this. 2, 3, 4, right? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Right? So that's how you count your 16th notes, and you know that. What we want to do is do this so that it's in 3. So let's do it in 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and you want to count it out before you start playing, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Okay, so what I did was we had regular eighth notes, which would be 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, or if we're in 4/4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But since that piece that we worked on is in 3, we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So, and then we do the 16th notes, which is twice as fast as the 8th notes. So the tempo is the same tempo, but the subdivisions are small.